Hi, welcome to another episode of Hope at Home, bringing Hearts of Hope Family Grief Camp to where you are. Today we'll be speaking with Erin. Erin, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name's Erin Hinty. I'm a life coach and I'm actually a board member of Brighter Days Grief Center. I have three children. My oldest is 20. I have a 12-year-old and also a 10-year-old son.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into the questions. Erin, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you came to be at Brighter Days?
So 5 years ago in July 2015, my husband actually died in a work-related accident. My kids were 15, 8, and 5 at the time. And the only thing I could do after that moment was just try to figure out how to get through each day and figure out how to best support my children through that whole process. And so I was constantly in search of resources. Do my kids need therapy? Are there other people going through similar things? Like, what is available in the world around us that can help provide ongoing resources, support, and all of that? It was 2 years after my husband died that I decided to leave my corporate career in search of, again, how I can better support the grieving community with identifying those resources and how to best support them. And I started by doing just a quick Google search, and I found Brighter Days Grief Center, which had been recently formed. And I sat down with Carolyn Kinzel, the director there, and I discovered that their mission was so in line with, what I saw for the support that I would want to bring families, the guidance, the tools, the connections to over 50 different organizations, including Children's Grief Connection in the Twin Cities. And it's just a compassionate space. So if people need to come in, sit down, talk to somebody, they can do that. They can call in over the phone, and whatever they need when they need it most, they don't need to feel like they have to wait to call in, or if it's been a year that that Brighter Days won't support them. Wherever they're at in their journey, whatever they're looking for in terms of resources and support, Brighter Days is there to help. And so last year I joined the board at Brighter Days, so I can continue to connect people to the resources that they have available and the organizations that they have vetted and are very much a part of the work that we do on a daily basis.
Awesome. Where were you at in your journey when you guys came to Hearts of Hope Family Grief Camp?
I have to just start by saying Hearts of Hope Grief Camp was one of the best decisions that my family and I ever made. It was about 2.5 years after my husband died. My daughter, my oldest, was about to turn 18. And I was like, she'd been really struggling with her grief. And I wanted this one last ditch effort for our family to really work on how that, how grief has really been a part of, our own healing process. And I wanted to figure out how my daughter and I could grow our relationship together and I could best support her on her journey, as well as my younger two, don't get me wrong. And so she agreed to sign up and we came, and it was right after Children's Grief Connection started the emerging adults group at camp. And oh my goodness, we couldn't have come at a better time because she really felt connected and supported. And as a family and just going through that whole weekend together, we're able to heal in ways that we hadn't over those, first 2.5 years.
So, talking a little bit more about Brighter Days, what are some of the first things that a family may typically need following the death of a loved one?
Yeah. Where do I go from here? Like, what are the next steps that I should take? Maybe they don't know what to do with their financial stuff. They may have, with the loss of an income, there could be a financial burden. They might need to work with an attorney, get connected to just basic resources, like maybe they need a gift card for gas, groceries, help with paying some smaller bills, or getting connected to an organization that can help with mortgage or whatever. Also, if they're just needing support, no, they're not alone. We actually just started our Facebook support groups, which we'll talk about more here in a little bit, which can be super healing, just to know that they're not alone and they can feel free and comfortable to share whatever they need when they need to share it.
And how does Brighter Days help with those things?
So whenever somebody finds us, they typically call in, and it's, really a process of understanding where they're at and what their most immediate needs are. It's different for everybody. What one person needs right after they lose a spouse, a child, a parent, wherever, whatever loss it is, it's very individualized. And so when they call in and Carolyn or one of our social workers talks to them, it's really about identifying, okay, what are those immediate needs? And then kind of going to our archive of resources, support, whatever we need for them at that moment to get them connected right away.
How would you describe grief, and how would you describe your personal experience with grief?
It's not something that goes away. It's always there with you. The loss of a loved one leaves a place in your soul that you just can't quite get rid of. And I think that it's important to also note that it changes over time. How we grieve in the beginning is not how we find ourselves grieving down the road, but that's not to say that the intensity can't fluctuate over time. And so I like to describe grief as like an ocean. Sometimes as the storms are brewing, as we get closer to anniversaries, birthdays, those significant life events that your loved one is no longer there to experience with you, those waves get a lot bigger and more intense. And all I can say is like, I always, for my family, personally try to find a little bit of sunshine through those storms, by looking at, different ways to honor our loved one during those times. And actually, this month on May 27th would have been my 20th anniversary with my husband. And, you know, it's, he died shortly after our 15th anniversary. And so these, like every 5 years, those are very special, significant times. And I didn't want it to just be another date on the calendar for everybody. I wanted them to remember and honor not only the life that Andy had, but also the marriage that we had together. And, that will never change and go away, even though he is gone today. And so one of the ways that we've chosen to honor that is doing a fundraiser for Brighter Days Grief Center. And I would encourage, other people in support of Children's Grief Connection, or, whatever organizations are near and dear to their heart during, those significant times.
Well, thank you so much, Erin, for sharing with us today. And thank you, everyone, for watching. If you want to see more of these videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there. And thank you, everyone.